this book make me rich? Well, we're going to find out. I want to share with you what I've learned after reading the book I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. Who's Ramit Sethi, may you ask? Well, I've known him as this financial guru. He has a really cool program on Netflix, which I really enjoyed. I'm going to go through the key things that made a difference to me and actually were applied in my life. First thing was debt. The next thing we're going to look at is savings, and the next thing we're going to look at after that is spending. So I've broken the video down into those three sections because those are the three parts that I feel made the biggest impact on me. So let's just start off with debt then. What did I learn from this book? First thing I want to say, not all debt is bad. Just to give you an example, about a year ago we started an Airbnb and we took out a small enough loan in order to be able to cover the setup costs, and we gained back all, if not more, of what we spent on that within the first season of renting out our Airbnb. So that's just an example of where not all debt is bad debt. Ramit has quite a lengthy section on credit cards. Now for myself, credit cards don't apply to me that much. The debt that we got in order to set up our Airbnb was actually through the credit union, and I definitely advise looking into credit union loans if you're looking for a small amount of money. But if you are using credit cards, the one thing I would stress is don't use them unless you have the money to repay them pretty much immediately. The advantage with some credit cards, and Ramit goes into this in the advantages and the perks that come with credit cards. Things like being able to spend them against travel and getting travel perks, points towards flights and holidays, etc. But that for one area for credit cards, it just doesn't apply to me. The one thing where you could use a credit card is if you have a poor credit rating, having a credit card and paying it off before you actually pay any interest on it. This can actually go towards improving your credit score. So let's say, for example, you're looking to buy a house in the future or get out a big loan for something where you need a bit of a credit history. Using your credit card in a sensible way, but you're still building a credit history. You should be able to check your credit history. I know there are a couple of different companies in the UK that do it. In Ireland, you can go on to a website and fill in a couple of forms and you can get your credit history and your credit score. So what's the takeaway then? Credit cards have their purpose, but try not to let them build up any debt. One of the things that Ramit goes into is being aggressive about any amount of debt. So making it your number one priority in order to be able to get rid of that debt, because debt costs you money in the end. Yes, we still have our credit union loan, and that's one of our big targets this year is to try and pay it off because it's costing us money through interest. Up until reading this book, we had literally zero savings. Very little to fall back on if anything ever went wrong. So one of the things we've implemented quite aggressively is a savings plan. So we tried every month, putting away money every month, but we find that was quite hard. We were putting away €200 every month. Ramit advises saving between 5 and 10% of your wages every month. We can't make saving hard. We need to make it as easy as possible. So the way we do that is through automation. Create a standing order that transfers money from your current account or wherever it is that you're paid into, transfers that money every week really simply into your savings. You don't have to think about it, you don't have to do anything, and that can build and build over time. The banks don't offer great savings interest rates. So I found an app called Lightyear, and I'm just in the process of trying to set it up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer the money I have in a savings account, and I'm going to put that into a Lightyear account. And what they actually offer is an interest rate of 3.25% on your savings. So if you have €600 of savings in your Lightyear account, you're going to get the bones of an extra €20 every year for having that money. That's only €600. Hopefully over a couple of years you're going to build that up a lot more. The next subject we're going to go on to then is spending. So Ramit talks about having a conscious spending plan. So it's not about saving every little penny, every little euro and everything that you spend. It's not about sacrificing the things that you love. It's about being conscious about what you do spend your money on. What are the things that bring you joy in your life? What are the things that are valuable to you? Keep your money and spend it as much as you want on those things. But on the things that don't matter, try and cut those back. The first meaningful way to be able to do this is actually analyzing your spending a little bit. So what I would advise is over the next couple of months, recording, not as you go, because I've tried to do that and I find it very laborious going through and tracking everything that I'm spending. But instead, the way I do it, at the start of a month, I will go back through the previous month and I will go through, I will write down exactly what was spent, so that I know exactly what we're spending. And what I did in order to be able to see, because I thought, we have no money left at the end of the month, what is it being spent on? So what I did then was, once I recorded everything that was spent, I put them into categories. So I had things like groceries, so that was one big category. Another thing are like household expenses and things that generally you can't change very easily. So things like your mortgage, your electricity, your phone bills. And then you have other things, and this will depend on your lifestyle. And then you will be able to see and make up totals and see where you're spending most of your money on. And then you will be able to look back and say, right, do I want to spend all my money here? Can I cut back a couple of these things, or track this a little bit more meticulously so that I can see exactly where it's being spent on what? And then you can look at where to make the cuts. The way I like to look at our family expenses and our spending habits is I try and treat it a little bit like a business. So a business needs to know exactly where their money's come from and where their money is getting spent on. And ultimately, a business wants to be able to make a profit. And yourself, you will want to be able to put savings away. You want to be able to save for nice things in the future. You want to be able to go on holidays, buy a nicer car in the future. And you're not going to be able to do these things unless you have a little bit in reserve. So for us, we love spending time with the kids. We'd easily spend €100 on a day out going swimming and getting lunch and having a nice time together. However, I hate spending money on new clothes for the kids. So what I do is I go online. All you need to do is search secondhand clothes for kids. There might be a couple of websites come up, and you can have a look and get some really high quality secondhand clothes for your kids. We try and bring picnics with us quite often, because to be honest, the kids like it better. And I actually like our own coffee better. We're not making a sacrifice in order to save money. I just wanted to, at the end, touch on a little bit on investing, because in Ramit's book, there's quite an elaborate section on investing. For us, we don't have a lot of extra income in order to be able to invest. However, I have a plan for whenever that time comes of what we're going to do with our money. And the way I mean investing is not through individual stocks and shares, is investing through index funds. And this is it's a really safe way that Ramit in the book recommends. So index funds basically are a group of different stocks and shares. So the two that I'm looking at investing in are the Vanguard All World Fund, and it takes a collection of stocks and shares from companies from all over the world. Basically, the value of business constantly goes up. Generally, over time, that it will go up and down a little bit, but in general, it is going up the ways. So if you put money in this fund, your money will generally increase in value by perhaps maybe around 8%. The other fund that I'm looking at as well is the Vanguard S&P 500. Now, this one actually takes the 500 most successful businesses in America, and you invest your money in those ones only. So generally, that will always go up as well. Regarding this conscious spending plan, I put together a template that will allow me to categorize my spending, because I wasn't able to find anything that I could just grab for free online. So I've created this template and I will share it with you. You'll be able to create a copy of it, and hopefully it will be able to kind of zone in on the areas that will help you actually save a bit of money. So has this book changed my life? It has, and so far in small ways. I would 100% recommend reading the book. I'd also recommend looking up the Netflix series by Ramit. Thank you. Thanks for watching.